this aspect of ether. A question that comes to the fore is, even in Indian traditions, we talk about Akaash Tattva. And there is a misconception I just wanted to kind of correct before I kind of move on from there, is that we say that the transformations taking place in the absence of ether in the Western context means that Akaash Tattva also should be summarily removed from the picture. That is not true, because the way we define ether is not quite the way the Western philosophies or traditions define ether. So luminiferous ether is something which has a certain mass aspect, massive aspect, a drift element of it, and a resistive aspect, so to say, right? It resists the motion which is of things in it.
Right? Can I call it as the aspect of dark matter?
No, not quite, because dark matter is going into kind of looking at something which has a mass, right? But it also, there are certain other characteristics, right? I mean, you can say it has a resistive component. Even dark matter has a gravitational component which we talk about. In this case, it's a resistive component. It's almost like a viscous component, viscosity, right? And something, when it's moving through it, it is impeded in some ways. Whereas when we talk about ether in the context of the Indian knowledge systems, we are talking about the fundamental first element that comes about, right? When the creation has started in the empirical sense, whose qualifier is sound. Right? Sound is its qualifier, and sound, again, I would say, is not quite sound in the way we think of it, right? It's more of the vibratory aspect of things.
Classical sound need a medium.
Right, so it is more vibratory, right? It is more about the fundamental vibrations that exist, right? So I mean, and so when we talk about gunas, when we talk about ether, we have to make that qualification of sorts, right? So this element of how we define the element of relativity, so to say, so when we say Bhaskara's non-uniform time, treatment of non-uniform time, or Surya Siddhant's reference frame dependent adjustments or calculations to correct for astronomical calculations, so to say, or knowing about declinations, many aspects of the planetary motions, celestial body motions, then we definitely see that there is what I call as proto-relativism, right? Proto-relativity, rather, proto-relativity, right? Something which prefigures this relativity, but is not quite relativity in the sense of the mathematics that we know it in the Minkowski sense, right? So in that way, definitely, right? I mean, even from a philosophical perspective, relativity, as we will discuss going forward, has played a very important role in Indian knowledge systems, right? From the Jain Parampara, for instance, in Advaita as well, in Sankhya, even in Buddhism, we talk about many aspects of dependent origination, right? There's Pratitya Samutpada, which is basically dependent origination, so to say,